Look at that beautiful Real Madrid flag. Welcome back. It is your boy MadridistaFitz, home of Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel. We are by far the poorest YouTube channel, but we got a lot of heart, baby. We are going to set up this studio real nice, but if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to make this a pretty informative video. If you are new to the channel, we do have the best PowerPoints. We are by far the poorest Real Madrid YouTube channel, but we have the best haircuts and PowerPoints. Getting right into it, we're going to talk a lot about the transfer madness that just continues to happen with this team. We are having a generational transfer window while those Barcelona bums are doing nothing. It is the land of make-believe. They're not making their team better, and our team is moving up levels as this transfer window continues. But we're going to go over the sale of Gonzalo Garcia and more in regards to that. We have an incoming player as well to replace Gonzalo Garcia right off the rip today. Some of the craziest moves. Florentino Perez is moving with a madness. He does not want to go another year trophyless. I certainly do not want to see that. I cannot stand any more fucking Barcelona barking in my ear. I just want to slap those guys like the little chihuahuas they are. But we're also going to go over Vinicius Jr. possibly leaving. I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to go over the Diomande and Rodri deals. When will these finally be done? When will these guys finally be donning a Real Madrid shirt and be in Madrid on our practice field getting ready to beat that Barcelona ass this year? We're going to go over that. We're also going to go over our first match impressions. They did have a match against Leganes, which take what you want from a practice match, which we only saw 15 minutes of it. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And then I always try to be fair and be objective, though I absolutely fucking hate Barcelona. We will give an update on those bums as well. But first off, let's start with the big news today. Real Madrid continues to move like a madness in this transfer window. Florentino Perez is absolutely fucking cooking. We saw all those memes and all those pictures on Instagram. Deco's cooking with his Julian Alvarez transfer that's never expired. Well, a man that is actually cooking is Mr. Florentino Papi. We call him Papi, the Godfather Perez. He has been fucking cooking this transfer window. And it's not only players that he's bringing in, but we are removing the riffraff from this team. I will never call Gonzalo Garcia riffraff. I actually love this kid. A lot of respect for him. I think he's going to be a big-time player. I think he's going to be a great striker for Fulham. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that's going to be a prolific scorer. I don't think he'll ever bang in 30-odd goals in a season, but he could be a 15-goal guy for Fulham easily. I could see that, 12 goals, 15 goals. And we got quite a nice price tag from him. Fulham actually got a 2-for-1 special, and we gave our former coach, who just got traumatized last year by all these fucking Real Madrid players, who I do have to admit, they were a bunch of crybabies last year. They complained about absolutely everything. And Mr. Arbeloa is going to need some serious mental counseling to get over that trauma that he endured last year from our players were crybabies. There's only one bigger group of crybabies on planet Earth. That is Barcelona fans. I say that all the time. They will be crying next year, and I'm ready for it. I'm tired of the barking in my ear I've been hearing from Barcelona fans. It's just, they're all bark, no bite, and I would love just to slap them and put them in their place, but we are making money off of all our academy players. Say what you want about Real Madrid's academy. It is not as good as Barcelona. I will admit that. We do not produce players as good as Barcelona's academy, but that's not what our academy is for. Our academy is for making us money. That's it. La Fabrica might as well be called La Printa Monica. That's the best one I could come up with, that one. It generates us cash, and we got more cash today. We are selling Mr. Gonzalo Garcia. Thank you for everything that you have done for this club. You've worn the shirt with pride. You've never complained a single minute. You just simply weren't going to get playing time with Mbappe, who we continue to try to play as number 9. I'll go over that in a different video. I have my thoughts about that when we finally get this collection, the squad all together. And we still have Endrick around. Where the hell is that guy ever going to play? So where were the minutes going to come for Gonzalo Garcia? It certainly wasn't going to be in a Real Madrid shirt, and he's moving on to Fulham. And they also got another player from us today, Cesar Palacios, in a deal that is worth up to 50 million for Real Madrid. It is just crazy that how we are moving. We've sold so many players. I think I have the total on a slide coming up. It's up to 196 million euros, I believe. Is that correct? Let me look this up real quick. 100, yeah, I'm correct. 196 million euros. Even though we're bringing in players, we are going to pay a good amount of money for this Diomande dude. Probably break our own transfer fee record, which I'll get into him in a minute. But we are making money. This is what we do. We are better than any club at making money from our academy players and bringing in money off of player transfers. 196 million alone sold out of our club. Players that weren't even on our team, that were playing in other shirts the year before. Guys like Nico Paz, who it was sad to see him leave. We made 60 million euros on that cat, something like that. A madness. I have that up on a different slide, but we have academy players that simply make us money. We do it different than Barcelona players. We don't treasure our academy guys unless they are generational talents, like Danny Carvajal. A few of ours have slipped away, who I would say, we got Martin Odegaard, a guy I'm thinking of recent history that was in our academy for a little bit, who we let slip away. But in general, we get them and we sell them. That's what we do. That's our business model. We get them, we sell them at a profit, and then we buy the biggest stars in the world and we win fucking Champions Leagues. That's what we do. That's what Kings of Spain do. They win Champions League. We don't win Mickey Mouse trophies like La Liga. I stand behind that. Our Champions League is loading. I am saying that right now. And what's even crazier is in one day, this is what Mr. Papa Perez, who I've always been behind this guy, watch my old videos. It is crazy that any fucking Real Madrid fan said that they wanted Florentino out of this club. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It has been quite shitty the last 2 years, but you don't throw out the man that has won you 6-7 odd Champions Leagues in his tenure here. The man, which I'll go over in a minute, is a financial genius. Our team is in better position financially than any club in the world. That's why we're able to do these transfer windows. This is why we're able to have generational transfer windows and why we're able to get players out and get players in. It's because of Florentino Perez. And this man today made 50 million euros for Real Madrid, and there was a significant gap. We didn't have really a true number 9, a guy that fit the mold of a Gonzalo Garcia. Well, what did he do today? Another here we go. Real Madrid signed this Carlos Espi guy to replace Gonzalo Garcia in a matter of basically 30 minutes. After we got rid of Gonzalo Garcia, 30 minutes later, we were signing Espi from Levante. Say what you want about this dude. This dude is just your big, tall, mutinous, classic striker. This dude's 6'4". He's a Spaniard. He's only 21 years of age. Now, he banged in 11 goals for Levante next year. If nothing else, at least we made playing Levante a little bit easier. We got this cat for 25 million euros, and I think another player that is absolutely going to love playing with this dude, what little minutes he does get, he'll probably play in stints for Kylian Mbappe. He'll come in at the end of the game when we need a presence in the box, when we're spamming crosses and we don't know what to do against all these teams that will employ a low block against us. Is finally we have a striker that is 6'4". Look at this, guys. I'm not going to say I've watched a lot of this guy play football. His highlights, he's just a box monster. He just likes getting in the box and trying to bang a ball in with his head. And he's 6'4", and a guy that's going to love playing with him is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's probably going to be like, holy shit, I finally have a big dude in the box that is willing to go in there and try to head in one of my immaculate crosses. I'll get into Alexander-Arnold in a minute. The good, the bad, the ugly from the training match with him. So much good and a little bit of bad always with him, for sure, especially in the defense. But say what you want about this Real Madrid team. We are eating in the transfer window. We are turning over our entire team. You'll hardly ever see another team in Europe do this and is capable to do this. And the reason why, and I've been watching a lot of Barcelona YouTubers videos, they're like, how does Real Madrid have the money to do this? How are they able to do this? Are they cheating? We're not cheating. We are just simply better at business than other clubs, particularly Barcelona. I'm not trying to be mean. These are just all objective numbers. One thing on my channel is I do appreciate the eye test. That is one thing I hear a lot from Barcelona fans is eye test, and they get in their feelings a lot with stuff. I don't like to get into my feelings. I like to present objective facts. I like written numbers, and it is just facts. We are better business than every club on the planet, in particularly Barcelona. We're just better at business. And at the end of the day, no matter what you think, these clubs They do play football, but they're a business at the end of the day. And how you have transfer windows like this is being savvy at business, being savvy financially. And we'll look at it here. So how does Real Madrid pull off this transfer madness? It's pretty simple. Our La Fabrica is just our summer business. I mean, it is just how we make money. Look at all the players that this is just 196 million. Look at this graphic to the left. Look at Florentino Perez and Jose Mourinho just rolling in the money. This is something you don't see Barcelona, those bums, ever do. This is not what you see a lot of European teams do. We always have buyback and usually sell on clauses added to all of our academy players once we sell them. And we are just making loads of money off these guys this summer. Look at this. Nico Paz for 60 million. Gonzalo Garcia for 40 million. Victor Munez, by the way, out of all this list, the only guy that played for us last year was Gonzalo Garcia. Victor Munez wasn't on our team last year. Went to Liverpool. We made money off of him on a sell-on clause, 20 million. Mario Gia to Milan, 15 million. Alvaro Rodriguez to Bournemouth, 15 million. Alex Jimenez to Bournemouth, 12.5 million. Cesar Palacios, the player joining the ex Real Madrid academy team now, which is now Fulham. He's joining over there for $10 million. Jacobo Ortega for $8 million. And Victor, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one. My Spanish is not good, as you can see. Another 8 million euros. We just make a lot of money doing this. It's funding our transfers. Our outgoing funds, it's common sense. Our outgoing funds are being applied, reallocated to guys coming in. We have the money for it. And if you think about it, doesn't take a genius either. This was posted in the New York Times today, 2 days ago. Real Madrid announces world record revenue. Revenue is think about it as the total money that your team takes in from last season. They set a record for all sports teams in the history of sports. Not talking about just soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, of any sporting team. American football, you want to include that into it. You want to include NBA. You want to include baseball into it. We made 1.2 billion. I think it was actually closer to 1.3 billion in revenue last year. And think about it. We were fucking dog shit last year. We had the worst possible, I'm not even going to say the worst possible season. It was the worst. I've been watching Real Madrid. I'm almost 40. I'm 39. I've been watching Real Madrid since I was about 20 years old. It's been about 20 years of watching this team. Maybe even before that. Maybe when I was like in my high school years, I watched them a little bit. I was watching the first Galactico generation while I was in high school. I have not seen a worse and more dislikable and more inept football team on the fucking planet than that Real Madrid team last year. And we still managed to bang in $100.3 billion in revenue. That really tells you all you need. But because this is home of Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel, I do like to get into this. I do like to get into the business side of it, because this is how it works. These teams are businesses at the end of the day. Of course, the results on the pitch matter. They don't actually really matter. That's the crazy thing. And fuck what I just said right there. The results on the pitch don't matter, because at the end of the day, look how much money and look at how we are performing as a business, which is allowing us to fuel this transfer window despite the shitty results last year. Could you imagine how much money we would have made if we were good? If we would have had a year we won La Liga or the Champions League? You're talking about $1.5 billion in revenue. And just getting into it, and I like to compare this against our biggest rivals in Spain, the current queens of Spain. If you're new to my channel, I like to call Barcelona the queens of Spain, because until they win a Champions League, they're not a true king of Spain. They can hold the title, the little La Liga. You guys have won little La Liga. You've been domestic queens. You've been great in La Liga. You haven't done dick in the Champions League. That hasn't happened in 13 years for y'all. Not since you guys had the GOAT himself, Messi, the little midget. But if you look at this, we're just simply financially elite. We're simply better than Barcelona when it comes to finances. That's how we are able to fund this transfer window. Now, there's a lot of notes here, but I'm just going to break it down simply. So, Real Madrid maintains an exceptionally healthy financial position with a net debt of this is the key, So a big thing is Real Madrid doesn't hold a lot of debt. Both these teams, that's cap. Both these teams hold a lot of debt because they just rebuilt stadiums. They aren't paying these stadiums out of pocket. They're getting loans to repay these stadiums. They both, think about it, have over $1 billion in debt when it comes to their stadiums, both Real Madrid and Barcelona. The big difference is Real Madrid doesn't hold a lot of debt when it comes to operational debt, daily spending. This could include player wages, specifically transfer fees. We'll get into that in a second. But Real Madrid's operational debt is only between 9 and 12 million. That's debt excluding the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium project, which they have a debt to EBITDA, which that stands for earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So I'll get into that in a minute, which is 0.0. So if you can look right down here in the bottom. What pretty much that means is the debt to EBITDA ratio measures a company's financial leverage and ability to pay its debt using operational earnings. It is calculated, and I have the formula down there. But essentially what that zero means is that Real Madrid, through its operational earnings, could pay all its debt, and that 0.0 means they could literally pay it right now. There's no period of time. It wouldn't take them years to pay back their debt. Based off what they make operationally, they can pay their debt back right now. Barcelona, on the other hand, has a debt to EBITDA ratio of 9.7. So what that means is it would take the company, Barcelona, 9.7 years of constant core operating earnings to completely pay off all of its debt. That just tells you all you need to know. One, they don't make as much money operationally as Real Madrid, and they're fucking swimming in debt. This team holds $1.5 billion in debt, and a lot of it is operational debt. Real Madrid has 9 million in operational debt. Barcelona has almost $500 million in operational debt, which is 496 million total. So that's why you can't spend money on transfers. That's just facts. Any amount of transfers, you're just adding to that fucking debt. That is not a good position to be in. That's a high leverage position, which if something catastrophic happened, like an economic downturn or another COVID situation, which really affected Barcelona in the first place and didn't hit Real Madrid as hard, they would be fucked. I mean, that's just really the facts of it. That's how we are. We're just financially superior. And I don't want to get into too much more detail about this, but Real Madrid, if you look at it on all financial metrics, their net debt is only, excluding the stadium, is only 9 million. They have net equity, so that's if you take all of your assets and minus your liabilities, of 624 million euros. So essentially, if Real Madrid went belly up and they sold all their assets and subtracted all of their debt, they would still have the owner of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, and it's all the other board members and whoever is in bed with that company would still have $624 million. Now, if you look at Barcelona, their net equity, if you subtract all of their if you take all their assets and subtract all their liabilities, they would have negative 65 million to negative 91 million euros. It means these dudes that are invested in the club, the presidents of the club, the board members, it means they would go broke. I mean, they would go under financially. They would have to claim bankruptcy. And then cash and liquidity. I mean, these are all things, I know I'm getting into the finer financial details of it, but cash and liquidity is just short-term cash to overcome financial hurdles. Real Madrid has a lot of it. Barcelona simply doesn't have any. They're having to take out more debt and engage something called financial levers, which is selling its TV rights in order to get short-term injections of cash, but that's bad for its long-term solvency, which basically they're losing out on $1.5 billion in profits by making a deal for selling their TV rights. It's just poor management is how Barcelona got here and how Real Madrid is funding these transfers. And then really another big thing, and the last real damning thing here, is if you look at their post-profit or their post-tax profit. So if you take all of their revenue, subtract all of their debt, and you subtract all of their taxes, Real Madrid is still profitable. They're a profitable organization. They made $26.3 million. That making 26 straight years of profitability. That is hard for any business. Look at any major business, they're always usually in debt, which is crazy. Or they are in debt and they usually post a negative profit yearly. Barcelona has been doing this year after year. I think this is wrong what I found online. What I found online is that according to one second, I have this here. What I found online is that according to their 2024 2025 financial statements, they were at a net loss of negative 17 million, which just simply means that the organization isn't profitable. They have way too much debt. So at the end of the day, that's why you fucking bums can't spend a ton of money on transfers. They have way too much operational debt, and it can all be tied back to really three simple transfers. Whenever they bought fucking Griezmann, Dembele, and the bum himself, Coutinho, it cost them almost $1 billion, and they've been paying back that money forever. And what Barcelona likes to do is they like to not pay that money up front. They like to pay it in increments. They're still paying back on players that aren't even on their team, including Lewandowski. They're still paying back on Rafinha, who is on their team, Ferdinand Torres. I go over this time and time again, but at the end of the day, I hope that explains how Real Madrid is able to do this in the transfer window. It's simply they're able to because they're better financially. So I know I got really into a tangent and into the weeds and nerded out there, but that is what Real Madrid does. You can say buying a championship. I don't give a shit. You will buy them all day long. We're making our team better simply through the transfer window, and we're able to do it because we're in a great place financially. And this is why Barcelona classically has had to homegrow their players. They tried doing it our way. They tried buying players in a window from, I'd say, 2015 to 2020, and it blew up in their face because they just financially couldn't figure out how to do it. And they ended up with some shitty ass teams and some shitty results, and they've been in financial trouble ever since. But moving on from all that, we are going to go over more money. Actually, the money's all tied to these transfers. It's at the end of the day the root of everything. And it's evolving all three of these deals, which is the Diomande, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Jr. deals. If you look at these, when will these deals get over the line? I titled this slide, "Let's get these deals over the line," and they all have to do with money. I should add, I'm actually not even going to add that part of it, but they all do have to deal with money. Diomande, this one by Fabrizio Romano, a way more reputable source than myself, said that this was a done deal about 4 days ago, or about a week ago now. But in reality, they're still negotiating with RB Leipzig, and this deal is, I'm seeing figures like north of 130, 150 for this guy. I really don't care at this point. Get him in. I want a proper right winger. I'm tired of watching fucking Massentuno and Brahim Diaz on my right wing. I do want to keep Vinicius Jr. I want that to be known. I love Vinicius Jr. and I love what he brings to this club. That's just facts. I do want to see a trio of Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., and Diomande on the right wing, because I think that would bring a lot of balance to this team, having him on the right wing. But it all has to do with finances. RB Leipzig is smart. They're trying to suck every single dollar out of Real Madrid because they know they fucking have it. And I would be doing the same thing if I were them, even though I am home of Real Madrid's poorest poorest YouTube channel, the 11th best and poorest YouTube channel. But it's all down to money with that one. And same with Rodri. We are now in negotiations with Rodri. I hope this cat comes too, but it's simply a money thing as well. Man City wants 75 million and Real Madrid are essentially only ready to pay 50 million. At the end of the day, I mean, Real Madrid, you got the money, you know. I say just pay it and get this guy in and let him be the anchor of our midfield. He has something that, just like Diomande brings something that we don't have, our right wing, which is simply pace, power, and some trickery dribbling. The likes of Massentuno, he is what he is. He needs a transfer and play somewhere else. I don't see it with the cat. He's simply not fast. He's not a burner. I don't know what he brings to the team. Honestly, I do feel bad for him. Like, he seems like a good dude. The only good thing he's really done in his career is he stole Lamine Yamal's girlfriend. That's facts, and banged her out, which, you know, hurts Lamine Yamal on a personal level, but doesn't really do much on a soccer pitch. But besides that, Yan Diomande brings pace and power to our right wing. And what I think Rodri brings to our midfield is a different type of profile that we simply don't have. We have a lot of like really athletic and strong guys. Jude Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Kamavinga. They all, I wouldn't say are the exact same mold, but they're all big, powerful guys, but maybe not necessarily elegant guys. Simply reading the game, being your field general, setting the tempo, being the mind behind your machine. That's what Rodri does. He may not pop out on the stat line. He didn't in the World Cup, but he dictated a game for Spain, and he was a rock right in front of that back line. I would love that rock right in my back line. Now, do I think that a guy needs to leave Real Madrid for this to happen? Maybe. I mean, maybe they can get him and then offload Camavinga or Tchouaméni. I don't really care. I do want Rodri. I'm changing my stance on that, and I will be highly disappointed if we don't get either of these cats. And at the end of the deal, with my financial spiel, which I just went over, we have the money to do it. Let's just go get it done. And then the biggest one of them all, and kind of the biggest head scratcher of them all, I'm scratching my head just talking about it, is this whole Vinicius Jr. nonsense that's been going around for a year and a half now. It blows my mind. Like, what is going on, and why can't we get a deal done with him? And I really do think it's all tied to money. I don't think Vinicius Jr. wants to play somewhere else. I think he loves Real Madrid. I've heard and I've read articles that he's even told his closest friends that he wouldn't leave Real Madrid without us making sure we got money. It was along the line like he's not going to leaving our coffers dry, which is like, not giving us funds, which is super nice of him. I will say that because we took him in when he was 16. He is essentially, we took him in when he was 16 or 17. I don't want to say he's from our academy, but he's grown up at Real Madrid. He's had his hard times. He's had his good times. He's had his Vinicius Jr. makeover. Oh man, he's looking good with that chin. Maybe I get one of those. But this is coming down to money. I think he simply is just demanding too much. The dude, I think, makes around 15 million euros to 18 million euros. It's not officially published anywhere. It's all speculation, but he makes between 15 and 18 million euros per season. That's a lot of money. And what he wants from this club is a raise to 30 million euros per year. Could Real Madrid do it? Yes, but is that a lot of money? It is. That's like getting double your salary he did bring 2 Champions Leagues to Real Madrid, but I will say he hasn't been on his best form the last 2 years. He was great in the World Cup, but this isn't the Vinny from 2024. This is the Vinny that's very, very good, one of the best players in the world, but he isn't undeniably the best, which I thought he was in 2024, and he got straight robbed from Rodri. I won't go and get into the Ballon d'Or. I want to make a separate video about that, but if we give in to that demand, which we could maybe, he'd be getting $500,000 a week. That is a madness. How much money is enough at the end of the day? And news to Vinicius Jr., a club like Arsenal, who has been the most likely, I guess, the most team that's been going after him, is not going to pay you that much. I'm confident of that. Looking at their books, or looking at what I can Google search their books, their highest paid player is Bukayo Saka, and he's making 15 million euros a year. I don't think they're going to pay you 30 million euros a year. And I think Real Madrid, they offered him a pay raise of up to 20 million euros, and that's where they kind of capped it off. That would make him the tied as the highest paid player on the team with Kylian Mbappe, which I would say, if you look purely on the stats, which aren't everything, but Kylian Mbappe has banged in more goals than him, that's for sure. I don't want to say he's a better player. I think they're both about the same. On their best day, they can have a dynamic impact on the game and single-handedly win you a game. But, I think the biggest thing that's really preventing this is Vinicius Jr. is tied up in wanting a loyalty bonus, which is basically a signing bonus. And simply, Real Madrid doesn't do this. Their business is once they originally sign you as a player, if you were a free agent or a transfer from another team, they give you one signing bonus. That's it. None of the other players that ever got a contract extension, even players that were way better than Vinicius Jr., including Cristiano Ronaldo, they never got a signing bonus after they were already on the team and they renewed an extension to a contract. So what they would be doing is they would be changing their entire business model for you. And one thing Real Madrid does, which we went over, is they're savvy financially. They are not going to change their business model for one player. That just wouldn't be smart, because any other player that they're trying to give a contract extension to, which guys certainly in the future will want an extension, including the likes of Bellingham, maybe Kylian Mbappe, if they want to talk an extension or a renegotiation of their contract, they could point to Vinicius Jr. and be like, hey, he got a $15 million loyalty re-signing bonus. Real Madrid ain't going to do that. I think if you want that type of money, Vinicius Jr., you're going to have to be a Saudi prince and go to the Saudi league, because I don't think Arsenal is going to do it. And then at the end of the day, do you really want to go and play in the Premier League in London? My dude, it's cold as fuck over there. I know Brazilians like nice weather. It's quite nice in Madrid. I just squeak like a 16-year-old girl, but it is quite nice in Real Madrid. It's a nice place to live. I've went on vacation there several times. I rate Madrid higher than living in London. And two, my dude, you're going to be living in a culture. I don't know how good Vinicius Jr.'s English is. I don't think it's amazing. You're going to be living in a culture that's all English speaking. That's another thing to consider. And two, you're playing for fucking Arsenal. They've never won a Champions League. I don't even see them winning a Champions League if Vinicius Jr. goes over there. They're just classic bottlers. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they did, great. And that would make a great story for Vinicius Jr. But at the end of the day, you're at the pinnacle of football, my dude. Anything else would be a downgrade. So, please, Real Madrid, I just want to see all three of these players make it to our team, just so we can beat those fucking Barcelona bums asses next year. It's coming. It's loading. I feel like if we can just get all of these players on the team, Diomande, Rodri, Vinicius Jr., and maybe if we can even turn a madness and get one more defensive player like Bastoni, which would truly be a dream window. I really do feel that 16th Champions League is loading. I do believe that this team is getting loaded right now considerably. Every issue, every need that we really needed, minus center back, if these transfers go through, would be complete, and I think it would be a great summer window. Now that leads me to, I'm just going to talk about this briefly. This video is already getting lengthy. I do talk a lot when it comes to Real Madrid. If you do enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. I do enjoy talking about it, but this isn't my full-time job, obviously. When you are owner of Real Madrid's Porsche channel, you have to have a big boy job and career, and I do that, and I'm working on my MBA, believe it or not, in finances as well. In accounting and finances. So that stuff fascinates me. Thank you for listening to that and that spiel. But I do find it important to gain an understanding of how Real Madrid is financing and making this transfer window happen, because I feel like no other team in Europe could do what they're doing through the transfer window. Now, my impressions of the 4-1 win, a training ground match, which I did watch the match. They only televised the first 50 minutes of it. But it was fun to watch. There wasn't any of the big guys out there. There was no Mbappe. There was no Vinicius Jr. There was no Endricks. There was no Jude Bellinghams. The biggest cats that were kind of out there playing were the Trent Alexander-Arnolds of the world. There was the Freddy Valverde. He had a goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold had a brilliant assist from beyond the center line to former Real Madrid player Gonzalo Garcia, looked quite nice. Arda Güler was cooking. He had an assist to Freddy Valverde. I will say one thing. This doesn't count worth shit. This doesn't even feel like a real game to me. Who knows how players were feeling in a warm-up training ground match. We'll see what happens this Saturday with our first actual game. But I like what I saw. Particularly what I really liked is the direct approach. One thing this team was not doing was fucking around on the ball. What you saw a lot of last year was we would get the ball up on the other third, and we just do a lot of side-to-side, back and forth passing. What I saw is a team that got the ball, we got in the other team's half of the field, and we were very direct. And a lot of it was coming down the middle. They would just do a little 1-2 pass and try dumping it into the middle. And when you get the ball in a dangerous spot, like around the 18-yard box and even further into the penalty spot, and you try feeding the ball in there with players running in that space. The very first goal was proven in on that one, where Arda Güler somehow slipped the ball between two defenders to Freddy Valverde in that little space, and they scored. It's a very dangerous spot of the pitch. If you can get the ball in there and you're very direct and you can figure it out, goals will come. The same with the goal that I saw from Trent Alexander to Arnold to Gonzalo Garcia. It was just a long pass into a very dangerous spot into the field, and I will just include it. I won't talk about this match much more because there really wasn't much to it. I will conclude it. It was a very nice match for Trent Alexander-Arnold. He provided an assist to to Mr. Gonzalo Garcia, RIP Gonzalo Garcia. Thank you for everything you've done again. And he also had quite a nice, it was in the second half apparently, but it was a cross that ended up bouncing off the keeper, kind of a shot cross, bouncing off the keeper. And then even the likes of Mastantuono scored a goal off that rebound. And you could see a lot of the offense being run through Trent Alexander-Arnold. This dude is an incredible dude on the ball with his passing ability going forward. But my God, this dude just cannot defend. Thank God we got Dumfries coming in to help, because this dude was getting cooked on the only goal that Leganés scored against us, of course, was directly on Trent Alexander's side. And it was not an overly complicated move that Trent Alexander-Arnold got beat on. It was a simple, I remember the guy did a step over, I want to say to the left or right, and then it was just kind of an inside chop around the left side of the 18, and he just curled a ball home. Trent Alexander-Arnold really didn't do a whole lot to influence the guy's shot. He just kind of stood 5 yards off, got beat easily, and let the guy get in a dangerous position to shoot. I'd like to see Trent Alexander-Arnold get a little bit more aggressive in that space, like right outside the box. That's when you should, at the end of the day, right outside the box, you should get tighter onto your man, I feel like, especially if you have guys behind you. If you steal the ball, great, but if you get beat, that's what your center back's there for, to try to steal the ball again. It's not like he was trying to make an audacious tackle at midfield where there was a ton of space behind him for the offensive player to run into. I think just, and who am I to tell Trent Alexander-Arnold how to defend, but when you are defending a guy outside the 18 and you're leaving about 5 yards of space between you and him, unless you're an incredibly quick player, which I wouldn't say he's overly fast, it's a lot of space to make up to prevent a shot, and that's kind of what got him. Just one move sent him off of his feet, and he couldn't recover the extra 5 yards of space, and the guy banged in a goal. So the good, the bad, the ugly from Trent Alexander-Arnold is the guy is amazing going forward, but he still can't play defense worth shit. And we will conclude this video with a quick Barcelona you bums update. What are you guys doing in this fucking transfer window except being freaking Rip Van Winkle and sleeping your way through it? Holy fucking shit. I have the title of this slide, Barcelona bums update. Time to move on from Julian Alvarez. I'm actually there with it. I thought this transfer would go through with Julian Alvarez, but it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to. And now Barcelona is even facing severe sanctions facing Julian Alvarez, and this is the title of an article that's out there. The severe sanctions facing Julian Alvarez and Barcelona following Atletico de Madrid's complaint. So Atletico de Madrid did file a significant, and I guess it wouldn't be the first time they've done this against Barcelona. They did this way back in the day with the Griezmann transfer, but they filed a sanction, they filed an official investigation, you could say, with the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and they basically are accusing Barcelona of illegal tapping up, is the terminology, outside the window. Atletico de Madrid's allegations that Barcelona directly contacted Alvarez, who is under contract until 2030, outside the permitted transfer window. So it's just something you can't do. And then they also apparently orchestrated the players' public rebellion. So this is what they believe. Atletico's board believes Barcelona's backdoor pressure is what provoked the 26-year-old forward to break his silence during the 2026 FIFA World Cup and declare publicly that leaving Atletico Madrid would be best thing for everyone. The Atletico Madrid is also accused Barcelona of weaponizing the media. So this is straight from their CEO. I'm kind of reading this right off the slide. So he fiercely accused Barcelona of a breach of ethics, claiming they utilized media leaks to feed their fan base and false narratives about a deal they could not actually afford. That could be facts. I don't know if Barcelona could even afford a deal for this guy. They just got to a financially safe spot, and the big thing is FIFA. Not FIFA, La Liga. They look at clubs' financial records, and they do have financial fair play in place so that clubs don't harm themselves. If there was no financial fair play, clubs would simply go under and get just loan after loan after loan to get themselves more and more in debt to finance players. It's debt financing. Can you do it? Yes. Is it being in a high leverage situation? Yes, that's what Barcelona is in. They're in a ton of debt. It's extremely risky to do it. And if something were to go wrong with the economy, or something, we were to have another catastrophic event like COVID or another outbreak, they would be in trouble financially. It's because if their debt collectors came to collect, they would be fucked. I mean, that's just the way that it worked. And I think Barcelona did take out another $250 million loan, and I thought they would weaponize that loan to maybe put in a $150 million dollar bid for Julian Alvarez, but it hasn't happened yet. And then finally, Atletico Madrid accused them of harassing them. So Atletico formally detailed a campaign of nonstop uh, psychological and professional harassment over several months to destabilize the player. That's what they're claiming. That they've just been harassing their player, their prize player, Julian Alvarez. And at the end of the day, I don't know if this will happen. I mean, they've been accused of this in the past. Now, I there's a lot worse YouTubers than me online. I try to say nice stuff, nice things about Barcelona. I will admit that I fucking hate Barcelona as an institution. I'm working on my MBA. I've wrote papers about how bad of an institution Barcelona is financially, and I downright hate a lot of their fans, and I think they're just a scumbag institution. You will not hear as many dirty stuff and scummy, shady stuff about Real Madrid, but Barcelona fans will accuse us of it. But at the end of the day, it's all Barcelona with the shady stuff. The Negreira case, this stuff going to another court, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, it always has to do with Barcelona, but Real Madrid get called the cheats. It makes no fucking sense to me, but that's the world that I'm living in with Barcelona fans. They're always constantly barking in your ears. But if for whatever reason, this federation and Atletico Madrid kind of proves to this federation that they were doing all these things, then these are the sanctions that could be facing Barcelona. So the club could face a full transfer ban blocking them from registering new players. That could happen. A potential 3-point deduction in La Liga, or partial stadium closures. These could happen. They probably won't at the end of the day. And then for Julian Alvarez himself, which is bad for Atletico Madrid, but the player himself faces a potential suspension from soccer. If suspended, he could be forced to financially compensate Atletico Madrid for his inability to pay or to play. So these are sanctions facing Barcelona. I doubt it will happen. Barcelona, I won't even say it on my channel. There's other way more reputable Real Madrid channels. Just watch International Madridista. He thinks Barcelona is the most corrupt organization of all time, and there's a lot of evidence for it for sure. But they're scumbags. At the end of the day, what I'm wrapping this all up in is you guys did this transfer the wrong way. You probably could have got Julian Alvarez, but you severely pissed off Atletico Madrid, and now you're reaping the consequences. We saw all over the internet back in June, May timeframe, before the World Cup started. We all saw the pictures of Julian Alvarez. We all saw the Deco cookie memes. We all saw the pictures of Julian Alvarez wearing a Barcelona jersey, deal done, personal terms agreed on, all that. But no one ever talked to Atletico Madrid about this. They did their business the wrong way, and they're suffering. And what I really want to know is it time to move on? When are these bums going to do something? Because I don't know. I feel like this Real Madrid team that's loading, and I could be wrong about this. I hope I am on recording right now, and Barcelona fans can bring this up, but right now I think Real Madrid is loading a team that will win La Liga compared to what Barcelona is doing, because they're just sitting around doing nothing. I don't see their team getting better, and I see us improving through the transfer window. Now, we're going to have to get all the players on the field, and they're going to have to play well together, and I think Jose Mourinho will figure out a system, so that's yet to unfold, but we'll go over that in a different video. I thank you for those that are still watching. I really appreciate any likes and subscribes to this video. We're up to 18 subscribers. We're growing slow, but we're growing. I like it. I appreciate any help. At the end of the day, this channel will never make money, but I just enjoy talking about Real Madrid. So if you guys enjoy it too, and you want to like, subscribe, or comment, I appreciate it. We could have a nice little discussion and a nice little community. Even you Barcelona fans and bums, I love arguing with you guys. So if you ever want to get on and talk shit, I would welcome anyone that wants to appear on my channel. That's an open invitation. We will figure out a video stream, and I will argue with Barcelona fans all day long. So if you like this, like and subscribe. But this is MadridistaFitz out. Hopefully we will talk soon. Hopefully we will talk soon with a Diomande closed deal and a Rodri closed deal, and hopefully Vinicius Jr. coming back. Thank God. And I know Barcelona won't be getting their players because they fucking suck hard financially. They might not be able to register their players next year. Okay, I'm signing off. I could talk crap about Barcelona forever. But see ya. God bless y'all and take care. MadridistaFitz out.